Warning, McDonald's noting that customers are not loving those high prices.
$17 for 3 Filet-O-Fishes at McDonald's? Are you kidding me?
The company saying sales fell 1% last quarter compared to the year before.
Every single second, over 75 burgers are sold at McDonald's. That means while you're listening to this sentence, thousands of people around the world are biting into something they think they understand. But what if we told you that behind every crispy fry, every golden bun, and every smiling Happy Meal is a set of secrets the company doesn't want you to know? Secrets that go way beyond calories. And it gets worse. Former employees have leaked internal memos. Investigative journalists have uncovered disturbing practices behind their iconic items. Even scientists have gone public with warnings about the long-term effects of some ingredients still found on McDonald's global menu. Yet none of this is shown in their commercials. Instead, you see smiling kids, juicy burgers, and those ever-irresistible fries. But behind that carefully crafted image lies a story most customers never hear. So keep watching, because in the next few minutes, we're going to expose exactly what McDonald's doesn't tell their customers, including the one menu item even insiders tell their friends to avoid. You've seen the commercials, you've tasted the food. But after this video, you might wonder if you ever really knew what you were eating. Let's start with something as innocent as a French fry. Golden, crispy, piping hot, McDonald's fries are arguably one of the most iconic fast food items on the planet. They seem simple. Potatoes, oil, salt, right? That's what most people assume. But in reality, that small paper carton holds a lot more than meets the eye. According to McDonald's own ingredient list, their fries contain not 3, but 19 ingredients. Yes, 19, for something that should, in theory, come from the ground and go into a fryer. And among those ingredients, a chemical called TBHQ, a petroleum-derived antioxidant used to preserve freshness. The same chemical found in lighter fluid and some brands of lacquer thinner. And it doesn't stop there. To keep those fries looking and tasting the same across thousands of locations, McDonald's uses dimethyl polysiloxane, a silicone compound more commonly associated with silly putty and caulk. Why? Because it prevents the oil from foaming up during the deep fry process. Sounds appetizing, right? It's legal in the US, sure. But here's the twist. These same ingredients are banned or strictly limited in several other countries. In the UK, McDonald's fries are made with just potatoes, oil, and salt. That's it. So why do American customers get the bloated version? Because in the US, food regulations are more flexible, and McDonald's is taking full advantage of that. They don't advertise these ingredients, and unless you're hunting through fine print on their website, you'd never know. Meanwhile, millions keep munching on fries that are more science experiment than side dish. And if that makes you rethink your next snack run, wait until you hear what's lurking inside a McNugget. One former employee said they'll never touch one again, not after what they saw during processing. Imagine walking into McDonald's with the best of intentions. Maybe you're skipping the Big Mac, trying to be smart about your health, and you confidently order a salad or their popular fruit and maple oatmeal. It feels like a win, right? A responsible choice in a place known for grease and salt. But here's the catch. What if I told you that some of those so-called healthy items are actually worse than the burgers you were trying to avoid? Take the Southwest grilled chicken salad. Sounds harmless, but once you add in the dressing, tortilla strips, and extras, it hits over 700 calories, more than a cheeseburger and fries combo. And that oatmeal, it's loaded with 32 grams of sugar. That's more than what's in a Snickers bar. McDonald's knows we're becoming more health conscious. That's why they've rebranded parts of their menu to sound wholesome. Apple slices in Happy Meals, yogurt parfaits, wraps with the word grilled attached. But behind the words lies a nutritional trap. Most people don't realize that sodium levels in these items can be off the charts. Some salads pack over 1,300 milligrams of sodium, which is nearly an entire day's limit for many adults. And thanks to clever labeling and portion control games, the numbers can look lower than they really are. They list nutrition facts per serving, but you might be eating 2 or 3 servings without realizing it. So while you think you're making the smart move, McDonald's is quietly stacking the odds against you. They've learned that all it takes is a splash of color, a sprinkle of fruit, and a few buzzwords to convince the average customer they're eating clean. But clean is the last word you'd use if you saw what goes into those addictive flavors. Because coming up next, we're diving into the science of why you can't stop at one bite, and how McDonald's engineers your cravings right from the lab. You've been there before. It's a hot day. You pull into the drive-thru, craving a McFlurry or a soft-serve cone. You place your order, already imagining that cold, creamy swirl. And then the employee hits you with that familiar line, "Sorry, the ice cream machine is broken." For years, this became an internet joke. Memes, tweets, even comedy skits turned it into a running gag. But what most people don't realize is that this broken machine issue isn't funny. It's actually part of a much bigger, multi-million-dollar problem McDonald's would rather you forget. Here's the real story. Those machines, they're not exactly broken. They're locked down by a single company called Taylor, which holds exclusive contracts to supply and maintain the ice cream machines in most U.S. McDonald's locations. The machines are notoriously complex, requiring a cleaning cycle that can take 4 hours. If anything interrupts that cycle, even a power flicker, it crashes, and only certified Taylor technicians are allowed to repair it. That means franchise owners can't fix their own machines, even for something as small as a software error. And those service calls, they cost hundreds of dollars per visit. No wonder frustrated franchisees started speaking out. In fact, it got so bad that a startup created a device called Kitch, which allowed owners to monitor their machines in real time and prevent breakdowns. But as soon as McDonald's corporate caught wind, they banned it, allegedly under pressure from Taylor, who saw it as a threat to their repair monopoly. What started as a broken machine turned into a legal firestorm. Kitch sued for hundreds of millions, claiming McDonald's and Taylor sabotaged their invention to keep franchisees dependent and customers disappointed. So next time they say the machine's broken, it might just be business politics, not bad luck. But if you think that's manipulative, just wait until you learn how they design their food to be biologically addictive, right down to the last bite. You've probably said it before. I don't even like McDonald's, but for some reason, I keep craving it. That's not an accident. It's not your lack of willpower. It's design. Every bite you take, from the salty fries to the perfectly melted cheese, is the result of years of testing, tasting, and engineering. McDonald's doesn't just make food. They craft it in laboratories to hit what scientists call the bliss point. That's the exact combination of salt, sugar, and fat that lights up the pleasure centers in your brain, giving you a quick dopamine hit. Just like a slot machine or social media notification, that small reward makes you want more and more. And it's not just about taste. It's about mouthfeel, texture, sound, and even smell. The crunch of a fry, the softness of the bun, the sizzle of a hot patty. All of it is calculated to create a multi-sensory experience that your brain will remember and crave. Even their packaging plays a role. The colors, red and yellow, scientifically shown to stimulate hunger and speed. That's not branding, it's psychology. In fact, studies using MRI brain scans have shown that when people look at fast food logos like McDonald's, the brain reacts before they even take a bite. It triggers feelings of comfort, reward, and nostalgia. That emotional pull gets associated with the food, even if the food itself is objectively unhealthy. So when you find yourself pulling into the drive-thru again, just hours after swearing you'd eat something better, you're not weak. You've been chemically conditioned. And McDonald's isn't the only one doing it, but they're one of the pioneers. The real question is, how early does this conditioning start? Because coming up next, we're looking at how McDonald's doesn't just hook adults, they start targeting your brain before you even learn how to read. Before you could spell nutrition, there's a good chance McDonald's was already inside your brain. Not because you chose it, but because you were trained to like it. And that's not an exaggeration. McDonald's has spent billions perfecting the art of marketing to children. Think about the Happy Meal. Bright red box, smiling face, surprise toy. It's not just food, it's an experience. One that links pleasure, reward, and excitement to a brand that also happens to sell deep-fried patties and sugar-stuffed drinks. For kids, it's not about the burger. It's about the dopamine rush of a new toy. It's about the colorful playground. It's about the cartoon character smiling back at them from the wrapper. Research has shown that preschoolers as young as 3 years old can recognize the McDonald's logo before they can read their own name. And by the time they hit elementary school, that brand is already lodged deep in their subconscious. Ronald McDonald may not appear in ads much anymore, but the legacy remains through kids' apps, product placement, and strategic use of influencers. In fact, McDonald's has partnered with everything from Pokemon to Disney, embedding itself in the culture of childhood. And then there's the placement strategy. Restaurants are often located near schools, sports fields, and even hospitals, anywhere children might be. And inside the restaurants, notice how the play area is visible from the counter. It's all designed to form positive associations early and make McDonald's feel like a treat, not a trap. But here's the part that's rarely talked about. This isn't just a marketing issue. It's a lifelong conditioning system, one that turns toddlers into lifelong customers, many of whom grow up with poor health and food addictions they never saw coming. And while those kids are chomping down on nuggets and milkshakes, there's another group of children paying a different kind of price, thousands of miles away. Because next, we're looking at the environmental footprint McDonald's doesn't want you to follow. When you unwrap that Big Mac or sip that Coke through a plastic straw, the last thing on your mind is the Amazon rainforest. But maybe it should be, McDonald's isn't just feeding millions. It's fueling one of the world's most destructive environmental footprints. And for a company that prides itself on convenience and speed, the damage it leaves behind stretches far beyond the drive-thru window. Take beef, for example. McDonald's is one of the largest buyers of beef on Earth. To meet demand, suppliers clear massive swaths of rainforest, especially in South America, just to graze cattle or grow soy for livestock feed. Entire ecosystems are wiped out, releasing millions of tons of carbon into the atmosphere. Trees that took centuries to grow are bulldozed in weeks. Also, a burger can cost $1.99. And then there's the packaging. Each McDonald's location serves thousands of meals a day, using paper wrappers, cups, straws, lids, plastic bags, fry containers, you name it. Multiply that by 38,000 locations, and you have a mountain of single-use waste being dumped into landfills, oceans, and city streets. Sure, McDonald's has pledged to reduce waste. They've made noise about sustainable packaging and paper straws. But internal reports show that progress is painfully slow, especially in regions without strict environmental laws. In some cases, franchisees push back against corporate changes that increase costs or slow service, meaning sustainability often takes a backseat to sales. But the damage isn't just to nature. When forests are cleared and air is polluted, local communities, often indigenous or impoverished, suffer the consequences. They lose clean water, clean air, and a place to live. And while customers get convenience, these communities get asthma, contaminated rivers, and climate chaos. That's a price they never agreed to pay. And speaking of people paying the price, in our next section, we're pulling back the curtain on what it's really like to work behind the counter and why so many employees say their jobs cost them more than they earned. For decades, McDonald's has painted itself as the ultimate entry-level employer, a place where anyone can start, learn, and move up. The so-called McJob was sold as a stepping stone. But if you ask the workers behind the counter, many will tell you a different story, one filled with exhaustion, low wages, and corporate silence. McDonald's employs nearly 2 million people worldwide, yet the average frontline worker in the U.S. makes barely $11 an hour. That's not enough to live on in most cities, let alone raise a family. Some employees report skipping meals while serving food to others. Others sleep in their cars between shifts. And when they try to speak up, they're met with retaliation. Over the years, thousands of McDonald's workers have taken to the streets demanding a $15 minimum wage. But while protests grow, corporate executives continue to rake in multi-million-dollar bonuses. In 2020 alone, McDonald's CEO earned over $10 million, while some employees were still being denied basic paid sick leave during a global pandemic. Internal emails leaked during lawsuits show executives strategizing how to slow union activity, using playbooks designed to squash organizing efforts before they gain traction. Then there's the workplace culture. Numerous lawsuits have been filed over sexual harassment, racial discrimination, and unsafe conditions. One former cashier said it bluntly, "They train you to smile no matter how you're treated. And for many, there's no real opportunity to rise." Studies have shown that the idea of working your way up is more myth than reality. Most corporate promotions go to external hires, not longtime employees. So while McDonald's sells an image of opportunity, the truth is much colder. Behind the counter are real people stuck in a cycle of poverty, and corporate profit depends on keeping them there. But if you think the labor issues stop at the restaurant, think again, because next we're following the food further back, into the farms, the factories, and even across borders, where the real secrets begin. By the time a McDonald's meal hits your tray, it's already traveled farther and seen more red flags than most customers will ever know. Behind every crispy nugget or grilled chicken sandwich is a supply chain that stretches across continents. And along that chain, things get murky fast. Let's start with the chicken. In many McDonald's markets, poultry is sourced from industrial farms where chickens are raised in overcrowded conditions, pumped with antibiotics, not to treat illness, but to speed growth and prevent mass infection. In fact, McDonald's was caught sourcing chicken from suppliers who used antibiotics considered critically important to human medicine. That practice contributes to antibiotic-resistant bacteria, a global health threat that experts say could lead to millions of deaths per year in the coming decades. And the seafood, investigations have linked shrimp suppliers for fast food chains, including McDonald's competitors, to forced labor practices in countries like Thailand. Victims have described grueling shifts, physical abuse, and even human trafficking in operations that end up on Western plates. McDonald's claims its suppliers meet high ethical standards, but watchdog groups argue there's little transparency and even less enforcement. Then there's ingredient relabeling. In the US, a product might pass with a long list of preservatives and artificial colors, but in Europe, where regulations are stricter, the same product is quietly reformulated with cleaner ingredients and fewer additives. Why? Because McDonald's knows it can get away with more in countries with looser oversight. So while American customers chew on food full of chemicals, European customers get the cleaner version without ever paying more. That's not just a food safety issue, it's a double standard. So the next time you unwrap your meal, ask yourself, where did this actually come from? What corners were cut before it ended up in your hands? Because when you follow the path from farm to factory to fryer, the picture gets darker than most people realize. And if all of this has opened your eyes even a little, there's one small thing you can do that helps us keep digging into stories like this. If your jaw's been hitting the floor for the past few minutes, you're not alone. Most people have no idea what really goes into that drive-through meal. But that's exactly why videos like this matter. Because the more we uncover, the harder it gets for these corporations to hide behind flashy ads and smiling mascots. So if you've found any of this eye-opening, even just one surprising fact, take a second right now to hit the like button. It helps this video reach more people who deserve to know the truth. And if you want to stay in the loop every time we dive into secrets like these, make sure to subscribe and turn on that little bell icon. We've got more investigations coming, and trust me, McDonald's isn't the only brand with skeletons in the stockroom. You have the power to help expose them, one click at a time. So what have we really uncovered? McDonald's isn't just a fast food giant. It's a carefully engineered machine that knows exactly how to shape your taste buds, your choices, and your habits. From fries laced with lab chemicals to salads that secretly sabotage your health, from marketing campaigns that target children before they can even write, to workers struggling in silence while billion-dollar executives cash in. We followed the trail from the counter to the factory, from the playground to the rainforest, and from a Happy Meal box to global supply chains that most customers never even think about. And through it all, one thing becomes painfully clear. McDonald's isn't telling you the full story, not even close, but now you know a little more. And that knowledge gives you power. Power to make informed choices, to question what's on your plate, and to stop confusing familiarity with trust. Because convenience shouldn't come with a side of deception, and a smiley mascot shouldn't distract us from the real cost of that combo meal. So next time you see those golden arches, take a second look. Not just at the menu, but at the story behind it. Because when it comes to McDonald's, the truth isn't always on the menu.